So you have now lost a single employee in 4 years?
No. We've fired a couple.
Yeah.
No one's voluntarily left.
Is that, here's a weird question. Is that good or bad?
I'm smiling because that sounds like what management would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're like, fuck you, I'm not going to do all this work
To change the technology we're using. I'm used to this.
Yeah.
I don't want to revolutionize our system because a 22-year-old just joined this company and is like, have you heard of this software? Why are all these businesses going bankrupt? Why is Amazon aggregators not working? I think the cardinal sin that they made is primarily buying businesses at the top of the market. And now it has the headwinds of a much harder economy.
Yeah.
So they made a cardinal sin of mistiming the business. This is going to be season 6, episode 1. We're at Marketingland in Austin, recording live. We've got 30 minutes of content, and then we're going to reserve 5 minutes for Q&A. And we're going to start with my favorite segment. We did some feedback on this segment, and it was very polarizing. 50% of people loved it, and 50% of people hated it, and it's called Guess That Company. I love playing with Nik because I like to stump him, and that's a ton of fun. Okay, but Nik, here we go. Okay, you ready for this Guess That Company?
Yeah.
Okay, this company spun. Okay, so in 2000, Purina, which is the cat food company, spun out Energizer. Okay.
Okay.
And then in 2015, this company was spun out of Energizer.
Okay.
Okay, so it used to be a part of Energizer. Energizer is the battery company.
Got it.
Okay, it's a personal care company. The market cap of the company is $2 billion.
Okay.
And they have 3 big segments: a shaving segment, a sun and skin segment, and a feminine care segment.
Okay.
Their number 1 customer is Walmart, which does 22% of their revenue. $2 billion market cap company, flat over the last 12 months. Okay, ask me 3 questions, and I'm gonna ask me 3 questions first.
Okay, so this spun out of a holding company that owns batteries, cat food, and this is the third company?
Yeah, it was Purina in 2000 that spun out Energizer. Energizer spun out this business in 2015. So it's a pretty new business.
Okay. And, okay, feminine care, shaving, and what was the third one? Sun.
And Sun is the big one here. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say Sun is the big one. Sun is the tell.
Is it called Avena?
No.
Man, I feel like I don't know any of these brand names.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the name. Wait, does anyone else want to guess actually before we get there?
Neutrogena.
No. Anybody else? No. This is a publicly traded business. That's the one other thing I'll add. It's publicly traded. Okay, their brands include Schick, Billy, Banana Boat, Playtex.
Wasn't Billy bought by P&G?
No, it was bought by Edgewell, and that's the company we're talking about. Edgewell. So Edgewell has only been around since 2015. It's $2 billion market cap.
Wow,
company.
only 2015?
Only 2015. I thought, the reason that I went with this company is because they made 2 big acquisitions recently. They bought Bulldog Skincare, which is they've been really investing in men's skincare products. So Bulldog, Jack Black, Cremo. Do you know Cremo?
No.
It's a men's skincare company, and Billy. So they bought Billy in 2021 for $300 million.
Wow.
The reason I chose this company is because they had to publicly disclose how much revenue Billy did last year. It was $75 million.
Damn.
So they paid $309 million in cash, and Billy did $75 million in sales.
Doesn't sound terrible.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Like 75 million, 300 million. Like that is not that would not be the sales price.
Did it say their EBITDA?
Billy?
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if there was EBITDA, but it didn't say it. In 2020, they bought Cremo for $240 million cash, 56 million in sales in 2021. So they paid 4x top line. And then for Billy, they paid also a little bit more than 4x.
Damn.
And those are not the prices today. Like they've made 2 terrible decisions when it comes to acquisitions.
At least they're on a roll.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get past Guess That Business.
All right. What should we get into next?
We can talk about teams that win. We can talk about our agenda is teams that win, Amazon, Prime Day, and a roll-up graveyard, and a landing page and landing pages. Let's get into teams that win.
Okay. So teams that win. This is actually something that I got as a DM about. What's the difference between working with teams that are winners, teams that win, that they do well, they hit their numbers, versus teams that lose, teams that they have high churn, from an employment standpoint, they don't hit their numbers, they fall apart, whatever it is. So I've got, probably 8 things written down here.
Wow.
That I think are teams that win. And this is coming from my experience at Sharma Brands, where we haven't lost a single employee in 4 years. So I think we have a team that wins. All right. So the first one is when you hire these people, they're hired in their zone of genius, meaning it's right in the middle of what they're passionate about, what they want to learn about, what they're interested in, but also what they're good at. And it doesn't mean that they're the best when they get hired, but they have that drive to want to be the best. Which leads to the next one, which is, liberal Twitter is going to hate this, but they've got a certain level of hustle and they like to work hard and they're not leaving the office at, 5:01 p.m. They're usually there till 6:30 or 7. But it's not even that they just have a certain level of hustle. It's that they have this desire to want to be the best. Next one is an understanding that not everybody can get first place and some people are going to suck. They just know that they don't want to be the ones that suck.
What does that mean?
Meaning if you go, I feel like there's so many environments where everybody just gets participation trophies.
Yeah.
And everybody should win and everybody should do well.
Yeah.
But that's just not how the world works.
Sure.
Next one is and this is more specific to us, but whenever we have bad clients or bad experiences working with somebody or just a shitty moment, it's never that's the worst thing in the world. It's not the bottom. Instead, it's a test of the system's readiness. So how well can we react as a team or as a group? And also, it's an opportunity to get better or strengthen a muscle that's clearly pressing on something that's not a strong muscle. The other one is, these people are generally curious to see what can work. They're not defined by absolutes. So it's not oh, that's not going to work. We're not going to do that. It's not going to work. I don't think it's going to do well. It's more so okay, well, let's test it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
And then the last one, which I thought was interesting, more for more junior employees, is that they have respect for technologies being used. So, for example, we have a account manager. And why are you laughing?
I was smiling because that sounds like what management would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're like, fuck you, I'm not going to do all this work to change the technology we're using. I'm used to this.
Yeah.
I don't want to revolutionize our system because a 22-year-old just joined this company and is like, have you heard of this software?
Well, it's more so that the 22-year-olds are okay, so you guys are using Figma for design. I'm going to go spend the weekend learning about how to use Figma so I can better understand it in conversations in other contexts.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was smiling because I thought you meant you were using Photoshop and they're like, how about we use Figma? And you're like, no, respect what I
Back
already
to your
understand. Okay, those are really good ones. Here's ones that I thought about when we mentioned this. One is communication. I think that what's really great is when teams can communicate. And I think the times that when I was running native and we did the worst job marketing was when we weren't all communicating really well. We weren't launching a new product and we weren't all on the same page. We were launching a new scent. We weren't all on the same page. We had a new, there were just issues where the marketing side didn't communicate with the customer service side, that didn't communicate with the operations side. And so we would drop a ball somewhere. We would run out of inventory.
Yeah.
We wouldn't launch a new scent on the time that we wanted to. And so I thought that really messed us up. The other part was creativity. You mentioned this in terms of curiosity, and I think it's a little bit of the same thing, which is partly a bias towards action, which is one of Amazon's famous, mottos, which is if you can do something or not do something, and you're not sure which one is right, go do something. Mm-hmm. Creativity is really just let's try new things that make no sense. There are no sacred cows here, and we would do that one of the things that really put native on the map when we were running it was I never talked about this, is our rosé scented deodorant, which was, I thought a dumb idea, but fun. We launched it, I remember, because there was this girl, we were based in San Francisco, and there was this girl on our team who was on a date with this guy in Napa on a Tuesday, drinking wine. And I was like, wow, she's like, I bought this big hat for this day to go out. And I was like, that's the most basic thing I've ever heard. We should, you're going to go drink rosé on a Tuesday in Napa. I'm like, we should create a rosé scented deodorant. That's where the idea came about, because this basic girl was going on a date in Napa. And I was like, that's when we launched it, or why we launched it. We randomly ended up launching it on June 21st because that's when we got inventory and stock.
That's Rosé Day, right?
It was the first day of summer, actually. And I didn't even realize that. But what happened is that everyone else realized that. So all of a sudden, all these news publications started picking us up. We were in like Vogue, Good Morning America, The Today Show. We were in every publication that we've been reaching out to for the last year. Wow. And we were all in it in one day because we'd randomly launched this crazy scent that we thought was going to be a terrible idea. And it sold out in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And, really made me realize that creativity was the backbone of our business, where we had to continually be creative. So I thought that was really helpful as well. The other thing that I enjoyed when I was running a business was there was this like team camaraderie. No one was like, "This is your problem. You dropped the ball here." It was like, the business is out of stock on this scent. The business has this problem. That's my problem as much as it is yours because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And the thing that we tried to avoid the most, there were two things. One was people without enthusiasm. Like the number one thing that I screened for when I was hiring was, are you excited about business? Are you excited about growing things? This is a small team. If you think your job is customer service because you're a customer service associate or a customer experience manager, that's crazy. There's very few of us. You need to be excited about the entire business. Mm-hmm. And then the other part was like toxic employees. I guess the other thing that I'm trying to say is like, okay, you're looking for drama between you and somebody else.
Yeah.
In a way where you're like, just fucking do this job. I remember people would be like, this person's like, not being helpful. I'm like, go fucking yell at them. Why are you telling me? Yeah. Go yell, get in their face. And so I was like, nobody should be a toxic employee. You should be able to talk to anybody. Like, you don't need to talk to me if you can solve the issue.
Yeah, why are you bringing me into it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to avoid toxic employees and people who would have direct communications with their colleagues.
Yeah, my favorite question is always, did you tell them that?
Yeah.
No, I came to tell you.
Yeah. That's I'm not your mom here.
Yeah.
That is a real problem. So you have now lost a single employee in 4 years?
No. We fired a couple.
Yeah.
No one's voluntarily left.
Is that, here's a weird question. Is that good or bad? Like,
I think it's great. Because I think like we've got, I think it just shows that people are generally excited or happy.
Definitely.
I think there's definitely some element of like a key man risk at some point. Like if one person is our director of design for 4 years, what happens if she gets hit by a bus?
Yeah.
Like how does somebody step in right there?
Yeah, I guess I mean more like, I guess you've hired a lot in the last 4 years though. So I would imagine there's a lot of new blood coming in and new ideas coming in.
Yeah.
I liked a little bit of voluntary turnover, not because I like losing people, but it brought in fresh ideas into executive roles where I was like, okay, our director of operations left. We brought in somebody new and they had this new idea of this new way of thinking about something. And I was like, this is refreshing. And so like that type of turnover was nice. I didn't like it, but I also liked the idea that like we were going to have to work hard and someone was going to bring in new ideas at an upper level that would help me think about the business in a new way.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. Anything else on that point? Happy to chat more about it.
No, let's go to the graveyard.
Okay. So one, it was Amazon Prime Day, I think like a week ago. Did you get anything for the October Prime Day?
I looked twice.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you go to like a Wirecutter or like the Wall Street Journal? They'll all do these articles where they're like, these are the best.
No,
Prime
I probably
videos.
should have though.
Yeah.
That's actually, I'm an idiot. I should have gone there.
I wonder how people like get on those, get on there. I'm like, these are great ways to advertise your Prime Day sale because everyone's in a shopping mood. Or if you're reading this article, you're thinking about buying something, and you're like, I'm looking for things to buy. So help me, Wall Street Journal. Anyway, one of my friends works at an Amazon agency, so I talked to him and I was like, well, how was this Prime Day? And he's like, well, the July Prime Day is far, far larger than this Prime Day. Prime Day in October is like a Monday is Amazon's best day. And so he's like
Mondays in general?
Mondays in general are the best days.
Why.
Which is surprising to me too. Yeah. I asked him that and I was like, I just saw him a couple days ago and I was like, how could it be Mondays? I thought it would be Saturday or Sunday where we were sitting at home and like going through things at home and being like, oh, I need more laundry detergent.
Yeah, I feel like generally in e-com it's like Thursday.
That's interesting. I thought it'd be for native it was the weekend. And so anyway, I talked to him about it and he's like, yeah, Monday. He's like, his hypothesis was people are back at work. They don't want to actually be doing any work. So they're on Amazon shopping. But in any case, he was like on average brands, it was like a Monday, but a little bit of it was like a very good Monday. So on average, he saw brands doing 2 to 4x their revenue, 2 to 4x their top line on an ordinary day on an October Prime Day.
Wow.
And so I wonder if most people hit that level or if they saw something extraordinary or something terrible. I have no idea. I just that was just him, and he runs an agency that probably has 40 or 50 clients.
I did some other research, and the top categories. Well, one, this October Prime Day was 50% bigger than last October Prime Day, which goes against everything you would think about with macroeconomics.
Yeah.
The top categories were apparel, beauty, home, and toys, which makes sense leading into home and toys, especially.
Apparel was number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, which is crazy, Amazon fashion is just blown up out of nowhere. You can buy Birkins now on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's a $50,000 purse on Amazon.
Oh, you mean Hermes Birkin bags?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you selling them? Are you selling fake ones on there?
Don't ask me. And for some reason also Crest white strips, every Black Friday, every Amazon Prime Day, it's like the number one, number two product.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
When I was at P&G, P&G told me that internally they give out a Nobel Prize for innovation. And they've only given it out 8 times in the 100-year history of their business. And the last time they gave it out was to the guy who invented Crest white strips. Because this revolutionized teeth whitening is genuine innovation.
Does that guy get a royalty or he's just an employee?
I'm sure I'm not sure, but I would guess he's just an employee.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in The Wire where these guys are like, man, the guy who invented, they're eating McDonald's chicken nuggets. And they're like, the guy who invented this is rich. And there's another guy who's like, you think Ronald McDonald was like, let me sign my clowny ass name on a check for you? He's like, no, go sit in the basement and create the next McNugget. Yeah. I'm going to be rich. Yeah. So I doubt he is, but it is still a major achievement.
Yeah. So one thought I had last night was Amazon Prime Day is a massive thing every year. Everybody knows about it now. There's is it Singles Day in China for Alibaba?
Yeah, which is far larger than Prime Day, but the inspiration for Prime Day.
Yeah. When will Target, Walmart, Kroger, Whole Foods, and Costco have their own annual shopping day? Why haven't they done that?
Yeah, I think that is a great question. It's a little shocking that they're not taking advantage of this or the idea of it.
In person, online. I was thinking if it was Costco, you know how they have the food samples every 3 aisles?
Yeah.
They could have food samples every aisle.
Yeah, on that day because it'd be so busy. I think the hard part, with Amazon, what happens is when Amazon's like, look, we're launching Prime Day, sellers who own the merchandise and who are setting the sales price are the ones who are like, we're going to discount it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were selling, I was selling a pair of shoes. If I'm Allbirds and I'm selling a pair of shoes for $100 on Amazon, on Prime Day, I can say I'm going to sell them for $60. Mm-hmm. The hard part is Walmart is the owner of the merchandise. They own the inventory. And so it's hard for them. They're going to take a huge loss.
I see. Yeah.
Instead of Allbirds taking the huge loss, they're going to take a huge loss. But the reality is they should go to their biggest suppliers and be like, look, we're launching Walmart Day.
Yeah.
Who's ready to give us 30% off? You're going to be in our flyer. There's this... if you've been to a Walmart, there's an aisle called Action Alley where they just have everything on pallets. And it sells really well. It was actually a big mistake. This guy was just storing a pallet inside of a Walmart, one of the Walmart employees, and people would just come up and start picking stuff off of it. Wow. And they're like, holy shit, this pallet is doing better revenue than anywhere else in the store. So they created Action Alley. You will be in Action Alley if you're willing to give us a discount for Walmart Day or Walmart Week. Totally. So I think you're absolutely right. I think that there's a little bit of a heavier lift for Walmart to do this. But, they've had 5 years to get their act together. And it's such a massive day for Amazon and such good PR.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably also do it with the .com because now they have a very Amazon-like .com where they drop ship stuff.
Yeah. I think a .com is really... Because if Walmart was like, hey, we're offering discounts on Walmart.com, I'd be like, what?
That's true.
I'm not going to that website. I think that they could. I think it'd be a harder lift than if they did it in store. And they're like, let us use the advantage we have, which is in store. We can drive in-store sales.
Yeah.
We can get cash registers full. We can make the store a really exciting experience. And if you're in our store to buy cheap Allbirds for $60, maybe you're going to go buy a bunch of other stuff as well. So it won't just be Prime Day sales or Walmart Day sales. They'll be able to cross-sell other products.
Yeah, good point.
Anyway, okay, let's move on to one other thing, which is the roll-up graveyard.
Yeah.
Roll-ups in Amazon were the hottest thing ever in 2020, 2021.
I remember everyone wanted to launch one, and it seemed like most people did launch one.
It was also all the guys that were like, yeah, bro, I'm going to start a holding company, and then I'm going to acquire some brands. We're going to scale this thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. And for a long time, they looked like geniuses. And, they were basically like, I understood the model, which was, look, we're buying a business at 4x EBITDA. But if we go public, if we get large enough and we can go public at 15, 25x EBITDA. So there's just a valuation multiple that we can arbitrage here and make a fortune. And it looked like it was working. And like, it didn't look like it was working across the guys who were going like this, across who's that guy? Tai Lopez. It wasn't just the Tai Lopez's of the world that thought it was working. It was like smart money. You know, Apollo, Silver Lake, Black, all of these guys were like, we're going to invest. And not just like, a little bit of, we're not putting in a little bit of money in it. We're putting billions of dollars behind this.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it was a huge mistake. Thrasio is on the verge of going bankrupt. They've raised $3.4 billion between debt and equity. The last time they raised money, they were valued at somewhere between $5 and $10 billion. Jesus. There's another business called Perch. Do you know Perch?
I've heard of it.
They've raised $900 million. They're looking for an exit. Like Apollo, who's the backer, is like, somebody please buy this business because it's going nowhere. Bentiago Group, which I'd never heard of until I was doing research for this, they've raised $325 million. They just went bankrupt. I remember having dinner with a guy who started Thrasio once, and he's like, we acquired this brand called Agent Orange, which is like a pet odor eliminator. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we bought it and it was doing $2 million in revenue, and now it's doing $40 million in revenue on Amazon. And so he's like, look, 1 out of every 10 businesses become massive hits. 1 out of every 10 businesses go to nothing, and the others sort of stay in the middle. And that's how this business is going to work. And it sounded like a model. Like when I heard it, I was like, that sounds great. I want in. I didn't invest or anything, but I was like, that sounds like it's going to work. Why are all these businesses going bankrupt? Why is Amazon aggregators not working?
From my conversations with a few different aggregators, it seems like the number one thing that founders bring to the table that these guys don't have is creativity and the ability to set themselves apart with brands. So I actually talked to one 2 days ago. Some billionaire founded the company after selling 2 companies for multi-billion dollars.
He founded an Amazon aggregator?
Basically like a brand aggregator.
Okay.
And most of their companies are hovering between 3 to probably $15 million.
Okay.
And they believe that they can pretty confidently like triple or quadruple it year over year.
Does his name rhyme with Wreath Raboy?
No. Different one.
Okay.
But, even looking at some of those brands, I feel like in general, a lot of these brands are like, they're brands that didn't have that tier 1 shot anyways.
Yeah.
They ended up being like tier 2 or tier 3 type of brands. Maybe they've appeared on Shark Tank. Maybe they had like a cool pop. They were a good Kickstarter business at one point. But now they're just playing the same game of Facebook ads and, a landing page and an offer, and they're trying to make it work, but there's no excitement or no creativity there. And, now they're all, I've talked to them because they've tried to work with us and say like, we need to add the excitement to the brands, or we need to figure out how to bring the brands back to life. Whereas this thing sells, like rugs and is making $4 million a year. We need to get this thing to 40 for this investment to pay off.
Are they primarily Amazon businesses or primarily
They're generally businesses? Like half and half. Some are like, we have a big Amazon business.
Yeah.
We're trying to grow on direct to consumer. Others are like, we're primarily direct to consumer. We've added Amazon as a channel.
Yeah. Okay. I think the cardinal sin that they made, these aggregators, is primarily buying businesses at the top of the market. Like, you bought a business in 2021. You were probably overpaying for multiple reasons. One is the multiples were higher then. 2 is interest rates were 0, so you were like, money is free. And 3 is that brand was already had the tailwinds of COVID behind it.
Yeah.
And now it has the headwinds of a much harder economy.
Yeah.
So they made a cardinal sin of mistiming the business. And like, in private equity, there's all these vintages where you like, let's say you're investing in a VC fund. You want to make investments over the course of 10 years so that it doesn't really matter what economics. You see every economic cycle and you're a little bit diversified when it comes to time. These guys were like, let's spend $3 billion at the top of the market and overpay for businesses.
Yeah.
I think the other cardinal sin they made was, and this is something that Warren Buffett says, he's like, look, I buy a lot of businesses. They never have any synergies between them. These guys bought businesses thinking that there were going to be synergies. They're
like, great, we're going to be able to combine operation. One guy's going to run Facebook ads and Amazon ads for Agent Orange, the rug company, and the shoe company. And the reality is that is not possible. Like those are very different skill sets, even though they're all marketing and they're all Facebook ads.
Yeah. The other thought I had kind of related to that was whoever, built these businesses, they built it in an Excel model thinking that, we can acquire 3 brands, we'll simplify supply chain, which is impossible if you have a rug company, a shoe company, and something else. And I think they were banking on that to work. It's impossible to do it because, like you said, you need more bodies per brand for it to actually do well.
What do you think this means for like open store, Agora, like, if the Amazon, like, there have been tailwinds for Amazon every year for the last decade. Even like, yes, post-COVID, it's much harder. Like, it's not as easy, I would say, but like Amazon's gotten easier Amazon's gotten less hard as compared to Facebook ads and Shopify stores. Yeah. I think if you're a big Amazon business in 2020, you've had some headwinds, but those have been less headwinds than businesses faced by Shopify stores. Yeah. When it comes to just Facebook ads and marketing in general. What does this mean for Open Store and Agora brands?
Oh man, I don't know.
Is Open Store in business 5 years from now, or is it bankrupt?
It seems like they do seem to be better at, and maybe this is just because they talk about it more, but getting some brands to a place where they're actually making money or growing. But I would say, I don't want to say anything bad about Open Store, but I would say in general, this category it's not a business I would want to be in. It doesn't sound like fun, to be honest. Like you're basically, you're essentially, you've got like 4 buckets in front of you. Yeah. And you're constantly trying to juggle which one should you put your money into. Yeah. And which one should you scale up and which one should you maybe lessen an investment in. And again, too, I just think all these brands are like, there's a reason that they're getting bought by roll-ups and not somebody else.
Yeah. What is that reason, you think?
I think they're just kind of like mediocre at best. Like they're solid B- brands.
Yeah, I think that Amazon is making it so that B- brands are going to get killed, and like they're like, we're only going to tolerate A+ brands on here. Like, between like the top 4 spots on Amazon are now ads, maybe even the top 6 sometimes. Then there's finally a non-ad placement for a business, and that's going to be the best seller. Like anything that is not doing really well or a really good brand, I think has no room anymore on Amazon. I think it's going to get much harder for them.
I agree,
and I fear what happens there. Okay, great. Ben, how much time do we have left? I'm just trying to understand if we should go to the Q&A. We'd love to do this segment about landing pages. 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Do you want to do the landing pages?
Sure, we can do the landing pages. All right, so every 2 weeks, I've been doing this thing called the landing page roast. Okay. So I tell people, and anybody here can join, it's just nick.co/roast. You just fill in your info. And you've been there. I've roasted your page. And so basically what we do is like people fill out a form, they put their landing page in the form, and then I spend about an hour on Fridays around 12 o'clock
going through it
and just roast them as fast as I can. And so, what I've realized is most people build, this is general too, most people build landing pages for 3 reasons or 3 purposes. One is like they want to educate somebody on a weird, expensive, out of the ordinary product. In that case, they'll use like a listicle or a collections page or a click-through page. The second is they want to just sell somebody right away. They'll usually have a hero product or a bundle. And then the third is like to collect first-party data, email, phone number, so that you can hit them later. And I've got this whole list of things that every page should include, but the main one is answering, the 5 main questions: what is it, how does it work, why does it exist, how does it compare? And then what I call the how the fuck questions. How the fuck is this so expensive? Yeah. How the fuck is this going to get to my door? Yeah. How the fuck can you justify the price? And these are things that people are often
1 and 3 sound like a lot alike.
Yeah, they are. The other one is like, how the fuck is this going to do what it claims? Yeah. Which is a big one.
Yeah, yeah.
And so basically I went through and I thought about what are the 10 things that are the most common misses across all these pages that we look at and roast live on Zoom. And so I'll just go through them. So the first one is high quality visuals. So good photography. If you're selling a supplement or something that has clinical strength, maybe infographics. If you're selling apparel, you have good lifestyle imagery or actual customers wearing the product. Yeah. Second one is clarity of offerings and the pricing. So, is it easy to understand what comes in the box? Is it easy to see what the discount is? If there's a discount there, does it auto apply when I go to the next step, or do I have to remember the code? The next one is clear and concise CTAs. So basically CTAs that catch your eye just visually, not having like a massive box with tiny text or vice versa. And also like fun CTAs, is it just learn more every 2 sections, or does it say, pick my color or choose my fabric or get 15% off, like something that's more enticing to get the click. The fourth one is to prioritize benefit-driven content. So, when we're drinking our Kool-Aid, what's so funny?
I was thinking of a CTA that said, "Give your money to me."
That'd be a good one. Let's just be real here.
I would like to test that. I wonder if it would actually do well.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about what you were saying.
So benefits-driven content. So like, when we're drinking Kool-Aid, we're thinking, oh, it's got clinical strength. It's time release supplement, but like that makes no sense to the end consumer. And so I always think of this conveyor belt of a value prop getting filtered through somebody who doesn't care about your product.
Yeah.
And then how do you give a benefit that cares? So instead of, it's got this ingredient, it's like, well, your hair is actually going to grow stronger.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it for that. Oh, and then also showing the benefits in context. So for example, if you're selling Axe body spray, instead of just a white background with the deodorant at the top, it's like some guy surrounded by girls because he smells so good. Like selling the context more so than just the product itself. Highlighting positive reviews and social proof, displaying special offers, strikeouts, contrasting colors, repeating that offer multiple times on the page, maintaining concise and readable copy. So I always think there's 3 in my head whenever I write copy. I think I'm going to go present this copy to a panel of judges. And there's 3 judges there. One is my mom. One is somebody who's just wasted, 2-3 drinks in, slurring their words.
Yeah.
They've got to be able to understand it. And the third is a 3rd grader. And if those 3 people can understand what the copy is, then I would claim it a good copy. The next one is to optimize design and space. There's a lot of times where we'll pull up a page and there's just massive boxes of white space. And it's like between sections and, especially above the fold. I call above the fold, that's oceanfront real estate.
Yeah.
And if you're wasting space there, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Second to last one is minimizing clicks. Every time you have to click between a page, you're losing the opportunity to sell. And the last one is to clearly differentiate product from competitors. So more so, one is like the tactical differences. So this cookware is actually made differently. The second one is the lifestyle. So like, our cookware is actually used by real chefs, not by, people who want like a cute little home.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to ask you who the worst landing pages you've seen are. Who's the best landing page? Like, what's a landing page where you're like, wow, they're hitting 7 of these out of the park, and I want to buy this item?
One of my favorites is probably, there's this flossing brand called Flouse.
Yeah.
Although we made that page.
They just raised $2 million.
Yeah. But if you go to their site, I think it's goflouse.com or something, and you click to their PDP, they've made their PDP our landing page because it converted so well. And it hits all these points very well.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't have like more about social proof on there, but I think we've talked about that in the past about these things. Yeah. But yeah, all of that makes a ton of sense. What are most brands missing? Like, is it photography that people like?
It's a lot of this. It's like photography is a huge one.
Yeah.
Which I think people like, if you put yourself in the shoes of you've worked on this product for a year, every day you wake up, you stare at the computer and you look at this thing all day.
Yeah.
It makes some sense as to why people don't think about that.
Yeah.
But photography is huge. I think the benefits versus value props is probably the biggest one that I call out. I think social proof and reviews is another one.
Yeah.
Like, you're selling a supplement or you're selling a bed frame and you have nothing about, does this work? How does it feel, et cetera. And then copy is the other one. Copy gets very boring just because, again, like the people that are making these pages have been drinking the Kool-Aid.
You know what I think is underestimated is delivery times everywhere. I think
fully
that Amazon has just done such a good job of training people that 50% of packages on Amazon now are arriving same day or within 1 day.
Yeah.
Within 1 day. Forget about 2 days. It's now 1 day.
I ordered stuff yesterday to my Airbnb here.
Yeah.
It's arriving right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so I think that a lot of people are not putting in, when to expect the package. And I'm not sure if it's hard because sometimes, hey, you're shipping this thing from China and you shouldn't expect it for 15 days. So you probably don't want to add that versus, okay, it's going to arrive in 2 to 5 business days and you do want to add it. I'm not sure what the right answer is, when to add it and when you shouldn't. But I think more and more that's becoming really important. And that's something that brands haven't paid attention to just yet.
Yeah, that just brought a fun thought. So with Long Weekend, what we did was, I think another piece of underused real estate is the shipping names when you're in checkout.
Yeah.
So, typically it's like standard shipping, 3 to 5 days, priority shipping, 1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
And then overnight.
Yeah.
And so we have standard and 2 day.
Yeah.
Which I think standard pretty much is 2 day. But, instead of calling it standard shipping, I wrote the shipping name is now, the paid one is easy breezy shipping, in parentheses, ships within 24 hours, delivers in 3 to 5 days. $7.99. And then if you hit the cart threshold, it says like VIP voyage, ships within 12 hours, arrives in 1 to 2 days.
Wow. Okay.
And, I can't quantify the help, but I'm sure it helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Allbirds says something similar where they say fast, fast-ish, fastest.
Oh, that's good.
Which I thought was really good as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn over to Q&A because I know we only have 5 minutes left.
Uh-oh.
Looks like I got the mic first.
Okay, wow.
Hey, thanks, guys. Awesome work. Second best podcast that I know. You mentioned Birkin bags on Amazon, and you also talked about Walmart a bunch. And I'd love to get your opinion on where you see, how do you feel about a premium brand selling on Walmart? Or where does the line, because it's such a massive channel. If you owned a premium brand, or it doesn't have to be luxury, but premium, how would you think about Walmart?
Great question. I think Walmart is the most unique out of all other retailers. If you ask me about Amazon and Costco, I'd say those are utilities. It's like having plumbing going to your house, and there's no brand denigration if you go into those stores. There's this famous case of Costco asking P&G for SK2, which is their luxury beauty brand. It sells at, a countertop at Bloomingdale's. And P&G was like, no, we're not going to give this to you. It's a luxury brand. It's not for Costco. And Costco was like, okay, great. We're going to get rid of all Gillette products as well. And then P&G was like, okay, you can have SK2. We'll deliver it tomorrow. And so I think that Costco and Amazon are cases where there's no brand integration. I think Walmart is really, really difficult for 2 reasons. One is premium brands don't turn well at Walmart. It's just a very different customer. So I think not from a brand perception perspective, but from a brand sales perspective, it's hard to be a premium brand and turn well at Walmart because Walmart customers are generally more price conscious than Target customers or Costco customers. I think the reality, though, is that the channel is too large for you to ignore when you get to a certain size. Like if you're not going to do it and you're going to sell your business at some point, that's great. There's meat on the bone for the buyer, and that buyer is going to go to Walmart at some point. Method famously would never sell at Walmart because they're like, this hurts our brand. Guess what? S.C. Johnson bought the company, now sells at Walmart. I think that at some point, the size of Walmart, the scale is just too big to not be there, even if it hurts your brand. There's 2,000 Targets in the world. There's 4,400 Walmarts in the world, or in the United States, I should say. Like Walmart is just too big of a company to ignore at a certain level. It's probably the last retailer I'd get to. If I were, let's say I was a cooking brand, I would certainly get into Target and Costco before I hit Walmart. But at some point, if you don't do it, the guy who sees your company and is like, I can maximize value out of this company, will take it to Walmart, and they're gonna squeeze that lemon for 3 years and get a lot of juice out of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I fully agree.
Okay, next question. Do you guys have any thoughts
Do you guys have any thoughts on the Buy with Prime integration on the Amazon side and D2C site and the effectiveness of it for the brands you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've used it with a couple brands and just seen somewhat of a conversion lift. We've been using it on Hook's landing pages a good amount. Like clients have asked to make a second version of the page where we integrate the button in. There's definitely some limitations though. Like you can't, like we tried to do it for Jolie, but you can't subscribe to the filter through Buy with Prime. And we tried to do it for another brand and you can't get multiple items in the cart at the same time. So it's a very single SKU order, which kind of sucks. Like if you're normally selling, 3 deodorants on your site, here you can sell 1. But I think it's just another tool or another feature. I think it's worth testing probably. Yeah. What about you?
I think they've changed that. You can only buy one product with Buy with Prime now. I think now you can buy multiple products with a Buy with Prime. But like I think like anything, it's super early on and probably maybe break even right now. I think 2 years from now, when customers have gotten used to it and they understand what Buy with Prime means, that it'll be faster shipping. They won't have to put in their information. It'll be a lot easier. Just like with Shop Pay. Like Shop Pay, everyone was like, what the hell is this? And now people are like, okay, I've seen this before, including myself. First time I saw it, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I think that like the investment, like early birds won't get any benefit. Like we'll get some benefit, but I think 2 years from now, everyone will have it.
It's kind of like Affirm. Like Affirm spent tens of millions of dollars advertising the Affirm logo. And I think if they do that, then, it'll have the same effect. Yeah.
Hi. So right now our brand that we're working on, Light Flacker, we're a beauty brand, which is traditionally done really, really well in the Amazon space. We're trying to understand if we should go into Amazon because we can pretty much understand that the majority of our customers would probably rather go to Amazon than our site. So we're trying to understand it's a big market. We should be in there. What things should we keep top of mind to make sure that people are still trying to come back to our site without discounting heavily?
I think like having innovation on your site first. New scents, I don't know what you're making, new products first on your website. I think that's good for a few reasons. One is, let's say you're launching a face wash and that like your face cream's already on Amazon, you're launching a face wash. You're going to want customer feedback that isn't 12 negative 1-star reviews on Amazon. You're going to want 12 1-star reviews that contact you and say, hey, I don't like this face wash because it dries my skin. It smells spoiled. The component isn't a good component. And so I think that like that type of innovation should start on your website before it hits Amazon. You want to sell on, even if I'm not sure if you have or have not launched on Amazon yet. If I were selling on Amazon, I'd be like, great, I've gotten all of the wrinkles out of my product. I understand repeat purchase rate. I understand I have enough consumers that I can communicate with on a regular basis that I can lose a communication channel. I can lose my understanding of repeat purchase rate once I'm on Amazon because I understand it so well. And like, I'm just making it so that the business that I already understand, I'm growing easily on Amazon. Not I'm trying to understand who my customer is. I'm trying to fix the problems in my business. I would not launch into Amazon or on Amazon until I'd solve those issues.
Yeah. The only other thing I'd add is back when I was at Hintwater, we kind of did what you were saying. Like we put our best flavors there. And then all of the other, 22 flavors were sold on the site. And that brought people to the site. We had better competing deals for new customers only. And, if people wanted to, for example, buy a single case of water, they'd go to Amazon because they didn't have to pay for shipping. If they wanted to buy 3 cases, it'd be a better deal to buy with us. If they wanted to subscribe, it'd be a better deal to buy with us. And so I think you can create some sort of like, push and pull where there's some advantages if you're a certain type of customer and vice versa.
Okay, fantastic. That's all the time we've got. Really appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks so much for joining the Second Best Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise in CPG, retail, and e-commerce.
And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on.